Hi there, everybody. Mike Peters back again here with another episode of Mikey's monthly market updates for the month of December 2021, closing out the year to let you know what's happening right here in the Treasure Valley as it pertains to our real estate market. We'll get to that right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back again after the break. Again, my name is Mike Peters. I am your Star Realtor of Star and the Treasure Valley, back with another episode of Mikey's monthly market updates for the month of December 2021. So this is going to go ahead and close out the year before we start the new year, and new predictions can kind of set in as that goes along, which I will make a video about. But if you are new to my channel, this video is designed to let you know what has happened this last month here in the real estate market in the Treasure Valley, so that you can make the best informed decisions on whether or not it might be the right time to buy, right time to sell, or maybe you just want to keep in tune in what's going on in our real estate market. So before we do dive into all that information, please feel free to hit that subscribe button below so that you're constantly in tune with all the videos that I do come up with, which cover a variety of topics around here in the Treasure Valley. Hit that notification bell. And if you are thinking about making a move here to the greater Treasure Valley area or greater Boise area, go ahead and look in the description below. You'll find my link to my free relocation guide for you, so that you're in the know and you have all the information that you need before you decide to make the move to our area. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the information that we got for the month of December 2021. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the data. We're going to start off with Ada County as we usually do and kind of roll through. So of course, this screen, if you are familiar, does kind of cover the last couple of years to show you the overall projection of, what happened in this market and what kind of got us to where we're at today as we kind of dive through some of these slides. But what's kind of important here is that if you are used to these videos, we do know that back in May of this year, 2021, is when we kind of put on the brakes for overall equity growth that we were seeing over the last couple of years. If you've lived here the last couple of years, you do know that our equity has just went through the roof. And in fact, it was number one around the entire nation at a 23.7% growth in 2020. That was just insane across the entire United States. So if you lived here in the area at that time, you definitely reaped the benefits of that equity train. But in 2021, we were still kind of rising, saw a small little dip, let's say like here in our average sold price. But if you take a look at the mediums, we went up until about May, until we kind of hit the brakes. But as I saw last month, I was like, well, we're starting to see kind of like an uptick again in the overall average sales price, the overall median price, and that is starting to come again. But in overall equity gain from May up until now, you can still see that it's kind of flatlined, and I did a percentage run, and really the percentage of equity gain that we have seen over those last months is since the brakes have been put on really has not been all that good. So we're going to see what happens with this year. We are still projecting to go up at about 3 to 7% in equity growth in 2021, which I'll really kind of focus on in another video. Another thing that we'll have to pay attention to, of course, is inflation rates and how they do, lock into any kind of market. We've already seen inflation really kind of take hold here in the United States and raise the prices of everything from gasoline to your food prices to, well, heck, I was just shopping tires the other day and I was like, wow, it's amazing how much the tires have even gone up in price. So everything is going to go up with it, along with rent. So maybe even the projections will be a little bit better, from not just 3 to 7%, but maybe upwards of maybe even 16% next year, or around that ballpark that we might see in the Treasure Valley just due to inflation alone. but that will come in another video. Please stick around and subscribe to my channel because I really do want to make my predictions for 2022 and what you can go ahead and expect maybe to happen in the real estate market. Okay, moving along. Always have to press one button. Now I'm just going to kind of break this down to kind of show you a little bit more in detail, about what has happened here in just 2021 alone. So again, we all know that in May, or if you've been looking at my channel and watching a lot of these videos, we do know that in May, it did kind of hit the brakes. But if we do take a look at like the average sold prices, and you even took a look at the median prices, now the difference, of course, the median, they're just taking the number in the middle of what's available in all the houses listed, to whereas the average sold price is going to be the average sold price. So we're seeing that we're starting to tick up a little bit. But again, the percentage of equity growth that you got back from May as today is very, very minuscule. So we're just going to have to see how this market kind of reflects itself. All right, now here's what I got to say, diving into this month alone. Holy inventory. I mean, really, I couldn't believe it when I looked at both Ada County and I looked at Canyon County, because generally during the holiday season, not a lot of people are going out there to list their homes. I mean, could the inventory be that maybe there's not, the buyer pool kind of dipped out because of the holidays? Yes, that's always a strong possibility. But also, it had such a spike, for this month, that I really wanted to kind of take a look into the details as to what was going on here and why did we see this kind of a spike. As you can see, from these numbers, yes, it did pop up above, 2,000 total listings in Ada County. And as we get to Canyon County, you're going to see that too as well. The solds came in at just about half, of where that really kind of overall let out. So if we do have an increase in inventory, we can start talking, and the demand isn't really kind of keeping up in terms of the solds, then we can start talking about a market correction in our near future, to where prices either stabilize or come down a little bit. I mean, we do know that, this area is a little bit on the overinflated side, or is on the overinflated side when it comes to median income versus median housing. So, eventually a housing correction is going to have to, make its way into our market, just because of checks and balances. But as long as we have the influx of people coming in with outside money that's able to afford these houses either in cash or with mortgages and be able to be comfortable, that market correction is also going to kind of play itself as to in terms of where it's going to come. But usually a good indication of a market correction is going to be if the inventory oversaturates the demand. And if you're looking at it in this aspect, it could very well be starting. But that's where I wanted to kind of start to dive in and be like, okay, well, where's the allocation really kind of going here? And is really there that many homes on the market that's just about to sit? So I decided to go ahead and dive in and create some of these pie charts to really kind of show you where the inventory is really lying. So in Ada County alone in December 2021, we had a total listings of 2,091 on the market. That's a lot of listings. And as you can see by this pie chart over here in the solds, half of those really sold. The big difference that we got here is how many pendings were going on. Now, were some of them rolling over due to the holidays, or some of the inventory rolling over due to the holidays? But either way, the pendings here are taking up another 29% chunk of what's going on in this market. Plus, on top of that, 146 came in at cancels this year, which made, or this month, which made up 7%. Expireds made up 27, which is 2%. And really the new listings that kind of came on sat at about 11%, which will kind of carry over into the market. So a lot of this, everyone, is kind of either taken up. Okay, so we're looking at a little over 70% between just the pendings and the solds have been taken up. And then some of it just came off the market too. So is it really an oversaturation, or is really a lot of that sold and a lot of that's still going to be sold? Because even though it's pending, it's under contract, most of them are still going to sell. Most of them are going to still see the finish line. So I'm really kind of curious to see this trend as to into next month, as to whether or not we're going to kind of level itself back out. but pendings was just like the biggest thing that I saw trend wise. Is, I mean, if I go back to November and do the same kind of pie chart, you see that a majority of these sold with a total of 1488 listings total at 67%. Our pendings weren't as much. Okay, so maybe the holidays was having its effect, you know, in terms of being people being able to close. So again, just because we kind of spiked up in the inventory, I'm kind of guessing, you know, that that's going to level itself back up, and we'll see, you know, not so much of a gap as we did see. But the big giant question is as we get to Canyon County in this presentation, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see the same jump. And which is, again, a rare thing to happen, especially in December after the Thanksgiving holiday, that everybody says, hey, I want to list my house all of a sudden. Maybe some of the cancels were coming back. Maybe some of the expires are jumping back into the market from time ago, which is all could be, you know, leading to this jump that we had. It's just very, very unusual. Is there a chance that maybe my MLS, which gives me this data, might have had maybe a hiccup in its data reporting? The chances are slim because the MLS does really, really good. But as you know, this month goes, you know, on, and I go into January, I will recheck back into December to see if there's any significant change. And if that's the case, I'll go ahead and let you know in our next monthly market update that things have were a little out of skew in those aspects. But I just wanted to kind of show you this to say, hey, is there really that much, you know, new inventory that's kind of sitting on the market? And really from these pie charts, you can kind of see that it's really not sitting. The majority came out sold and in pending, which really kind of took out that. Let's go ahead and jump into the days on market. Of course, our days on market are kind of increasing as we go along. But again, this is the holiday season, or now we're tapering out of the holiday season. And quarter one is generally the slowest time of the year in our industry. Not a lot of people are kind of out there, you know, shopping, buying, which buyers, if you've been waiting and you want to take advantage of that, and especially while interest rates are still low, before the Fed decides to make their decision, and while competition is low, quarter one is a good time for you to go out there and start shopping again, because you won't have a lot of the competition. You know, again, our competition wasn't as fury of a pace as we saw everything for here from, like, say, October all the way to August, you know, leading in of last year to this year. But again, we'll just kind of see what happens, because if inventory again kind of comes on down and the demand kind of comes up, then we can start returning back to those days of hard competition, you know, possibly for homes. I don't really see that happening, you know, coming up in 2022, especially as interest rates are slated to rise from the Fed, because it just needs to happen. It needs to happen, or our dollar's not going to be worth anything. But I'm anticipating to see the days on market to continue and increase. But as we get into, say, quarter two, quarter three, I can see it coming back down a little bit again. But again, that's another discussion for another video. But the reason that I'm kind of seeing that, I'm believing and seeing that the days on market is, yes, the fury pitch that we had back in the day has kind of ceased and came to an end, as you can see by the plateau in the overall value. And I can see it kind of increasing as we go along and stabilizing the market a little bit more. Cancels and expireds, well, we really kind of dealt with that in the pie charts. But again, you know, we did have some significant cancels and expireds. Expireds, of course, are, you know, people really just holding out on their contract up until it expires. They weren't willing to really negotiate or relinquish their price. And really no one had just general interest, maybe due to that, because they didn't want to make any price reductions. They said, well, this is what I want for my house, and this is what I'm going to take for my house. Sellers, you know, keep in mind, you know, your realtors are going to come to you with a comparative market analysis that's going to really kind of price your home appropriately. Okay. I know you got your value of what you want to get for your house, because you probably want to roll it into a new house, or you have dreams of, you know, putting that in to retirement funds, or just want some, you know, extra money for whatever it is you need to spend it on. You know, but if you're not getting the traction that you're looking for, you know, after about 2-3 weeks, really, a lot of those buyers, a lot of those real estate agents, they kind of lose interest in your home, on being able to show it. They're waiting for you to make that price reduction, and they will sit there and wait until you do. Okay, so because you got to understand, buyers agents should be doing a CMA too as well, to let their buyers know generally what your house should cost. So if you're well above, you're going to chase away a lot of that buyer pool, and that's something I would recommend that you go back to your listing agent with and talk about to make your house a little bit more competitive and to get the traction that you're looking for if you're really looking and really motivated to sell. Okay, let's dive into Canyon County over here. Again, we're starting to see a tick back up, especially in the average sold price. And you can see it here, a tick back up in the median price. Now, Canyon County is also a little bit more on the desirable side right now. And why is that? Because you can find cheaper homes. Ada County is more expensive than Canyon County, which has been kind of driving the traffic to Canyon County. I've also seen some traffic being driven out to Payette and Washington too as well, because it does have cheaper housing out there, where Ada County is going to be on the higher end. But eventually, will Canyon County maybe catch up to Ada? We're going to go ahead and monitor that over the year, this next upcoming year in 2022. But I got a feeling that gap might start seeing its way, but might start closing as we get through. But that, again, is another conversation to have as we go along, or in another video as I make my predictions for 2022. Showing you just for this year alone, to kind of put it in perspective. Again, back in May, we kind of hit the brakes, but especially over this last month, we saw kind of these last couple of months, we saw a really good kind of increase in the overall sold price and the median price. So I'm still anticipating Canyon County to generally kind of outperform Ada County when it comes to maybe potential equity growth, just because it's cheaper. Okay, again, holy inventory, bam. I mean, look at that. And I went through a lot of this in Ada County, and my thoughts really kind of don't change, in terms of what was going on. But again, I just kind of want to show you the pie charts of the allocation is what was going on. Look at how many pendings that we had going on. Again, could it have possibly been a potential glitch that MLS had? I doubt it. Okay, I think that maybe the inventory was really out there, but you can see a lot of the inventory that was available in the month of December 2021 at 1315 total listings available. You can see that 583 went to solds, 403 are still pending. Again, that makes up 76%, of the total inventory. Another 7%, another 8% really kind of came off the market, which left about another 16% to carry on. So another 209 new active listings that are bleeding. Again, we'll revisit this data as we go into next month and see, I'll check back into December, see if it kind of, maybe there might've been some errors that came across from the MLS. Again, doubt it. Or we'll see whether or not the gap kind of closed itself as we came along into January. But again, kind of comparing this back into November, I'm just kind of guessing that the holiday seasons kind of came into actual closings, hence why we got so many pendings, on the list. But you can kind of just see, again, how many new active listings are kind of carrying on, and are we going really wholly inventory? We don't know yet. We'll know a little bit more next month. Days on market, you can see here in Canyon County, they are increasing again, probably due to the holiday season and maybe not a lot of buyers out there, potentially buying. It happens, during this time. And again, as I mentioned with Ada County, Canyon County, I can see the days on market because the fever pitch that we did have, back here all the way from October 2020 to really August of 21 has really kind of subsided itself. A lot of that competition has gone away, and more inventory, as you can see, is coming onto the market. So the days on market will probably increase too. But as we get into quarter 2, quarter 3, I anticipate it'll probably come back down a little bit, but that all depends on, again, supply and demand. How much inventory we're going to have out there to how much demand we're going to have. So that's going to be one thing we need to take a look at and keep watching, because that could be the indication, again, as more inventory is going to increase in this market, could be indicating that we might have our market correction coming to really kind of even the playing field between median income, household income, and median or medium household income and median house prices. Sorry. To kind of even that ball field, because it does need to happen, considering how really kind of overpriced that we kind of are sitting right now here in the Treasure Valley. In the United States will see a market correction, but it isn't going to be a significant market correction to where it's going to drop prices astronomically. I'm going to go ahead and say no on that one. It's just not going to happen. So buyers, again, if you're on the fence, waiting for that, illustrious crash to happen that we had, say, back in 2008, we are talking about two way different situations. 2008, let's just go ahead and break it down. Happened because really of greed. They were out there selling debt. Mortgages were unregulated. They could go out there and give a mortgage to anyone for any reason. Stated income was a very, very bad thing. And when that happens, and then when the regulation catches up and says, well, what are you doing? Okay, now you're going to have yourself some problems. And that's what happened back in 2008. This will be just a correction to make sure that median income can be on the same page as median household prices or close to it. And now, like I said, going to be an absolute dip in prices to where you're like, oh my gosh, it's a big relief. I don't see that coming. I really don't. So buyers, before interest rates hit you, all that, and housing is still slated to go up. At that rate, it can cost you more, and then cost you more in interest, just money you're tossing away to your mortgage, money you're tossing away to a bank. So if you're in there, now is still kind of a good time to consider to buy. Again, getting back to the cancels and expireds, as we had the pie charts really showed what was going on for December. But again, our cancels there's still quite a few people that said, I don't want to sell right now. Maybe they're waiting until after the new year, or maybe they're going to wait until Q2 or Q3 to relist their house because they know it's a little bit more hot. But again, are they going to get those quality buyers that they would get right now? No, because really the buyers that are in the pool, and sellers, think about this, the buyers that are in the pool right now during the holiday season and during, especially Q1, they're serious. They're very serious buyers. They're out there. They want to get a home. So just kind of keep that in mind, especially if you're considering, not being in the expired, range to where you really don't want to bend on your price. It's all things to kind of sit down and discuss with your realtor to come up with the best game plan. But your best buyers really, they're in Q1, Q4, towards the end of Q4. Okay. All right. So that kind of covers what we got going on for Ada and Canyon counties. Again, holy inventory. Wow. That was just amazing to kind of see in December. We will come back to that in January's episode of Mikey's monthly market update. So I'll go ahead and retackle that again, just to make sure there wasn't any errors in the MLS. But I'm going to go ahead and come in with my final thoughts here, my summary, just right after this. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and let's dive into a summary, more or less, to kind of break down, what it was I was really kind of explaining to you, and break it down how it really kind of applies. So did we see holy inventory across, both counties? Yes, we did. Oh my gosh. That was just kind of an explosion that I did not see coming, especially during the holiday season, which is kind of rare. I'd consider rare to see, considering that most people don't want to list their house because, it's the holiday season, or they don't want to buy a house because it's the holiday season. Were they talked into saying well, hey, list your house, you get good quality buyers, or hey, buyers, you're going to go out there because you're going to get good quality listings. Who knows? Or was there a possible potential glitch in what happened to the MLS? I doubt that one. So in order for me to really kind of verify that, again, stick in tune to what's going to happen in January's edition of Mikey's Market Monthly Update. So that way, if there was kind of a glitch, you'll see it. I'll mention it to you. But again, our inventory did shoot up, but again, a lot of it was swallowed up, and a lot of it in pendings, really, as it comes along. The pendings were just kind of astronomical that were still out there. Maybe some of them, rolling over, they're just kind of not closing due to the holiday seasons. unlikely, but either way, the inventory gap, is starting to see itself there. So could that be predicting a potential market correction coming up? Maybe. We'll just have to pay attention to the details as it goes along. But buyers, if you are convinced and saying like, oh, that market correction is going to turn into a crash like in 2008, no, it's just going to be more or less a correction from the median income, okay, that people are making to the median housing price. So are we going to see like this really big dip that's going to come along like we did in 2008? No. Because remember, in 2008, buyers, I mean, that was really kind of greed running it, and regulation not really watching what was going on until it's too late, until they watched it, and then boom, everything exploded on itself and created, the Great Recession that we had. So it was bad. That was just big mistakes happening. This one is just going to kind of more or less just even out the playing field a little bit. Right now, the playing field has evened itself out. I mean, it's really kind of has plateaued in terms of the overall equity growth that we have seen. And in so far, it seems to be kind of sticking that way. But are we going to see about 3 to 7% increase, or maybe even more due to the inflation, due to this current administration out there? I think so. I think that that's what's going to happen. So for buyers, really in kind of summary here, inflation's on the rise. It's on an astronomical rise, the highest that we've seen in 40 years. I mean, that's just crazy how much. So, and everything's going to go up with it. So if you're renting, if you think that when your lease agreement is done, that your rent's not going to go up with it, it's going to. Okay, so if you've been on the fence about buying because you're waiting for a crash that's not going to come, and you're worried about your rent going up, well, maybe now is time to consider buying a home so that you're paying for the equity instead of giving it to your landlord. And that's what we all want. And then also, your value just kind of goes up with it. So, but either way, it's a great investment, great way to hedge against inflation too that's happening if you are investing in real estate, buyers. But again, well, home prices are going to go up, but the other important thing that's going to go up that you need to know about is going to be the Fed. The Fed is going to raise their interest rates. They have to in order to, stop this madness. Okay, in order to make our dollar worth something. So, at that point, for every percent that you go above, or for every percent that they go above where it's at currently, is going to cost you generally another 10% on your mortgage. And that's a lot of money that you're just giving away really for free. So if you're going to be spending more money and then spending more interest rates, or interest rate, is it going to be really worth it? So right now, I just kind of see that this is a window. The fever pitch that you were fighting for, or that was there, say about 6 months to a year ago, is really not there anymore. And if inventory is increasing, it gives you more opportunity to find what you're looking for. Now, do you want to sit around and wait for the market correction? Maybe, but you're going to be playing the game with the interest rates, and it could offset itself. And really, is the market correction going to be, if it's really truly coming, is it going to be anything significant? And is it not going to just kind of go back up when the buyer pool comes back and says, oh, hey, the market came down a little bit? Well, if the market comes down a little bit and the demand comes back, it's just going to plateau it out, okay, again, or maybe even raise it. So again, buyers, I really just kind of think that this is a good window for you. And again, a lot of what was even on the inventory that came up, another thing to think about, was kind of swapped up or taken off the market. So it's one of those things to consider. How much real inventory is kind of coming? Are we seeing a big balloon of inventory versus demand? I'm still just not seeing it there yet, which it just kind of solidifies me to say that buyers, this is a really, really good time. I just think that you're still racing the Fed, and that's what I think could really hurt you down the line. Sellers, if you're on the fence about selling, again, that window I think is here. The more inventory that goes up, the more competition that you got for your home out there. And say that this is the indication of a market correction coming up, you could start losing some of that equity in your home, the overall value of your home, and it might take you maybe some months to recoup to get it back before you might consider selling again. So again, the buyer pool's out there, the demand's still there. If interest rates do kind of kick up, I do see some of the buyer pool getting chased away too, which could also bring up the inventory and create more create more of a gap and create more competition for you. So this could be that window. This could be that indication, like letting you know that, hey, we're at like tip top dollar here, before we could potentially make a market correction. Or maybe the market correction, maybe this was just kind of like an error or whatever was going on. We will see what happens, come to January, taking a look at this inventory. Okay, maybe it was an error in the data reporting and everything is kind of just fine. And then you can, sit around and maybe even wait to see the 3 to 7% per year, or maybe not even more for inflation. So those are some things to think about, but we'll know a little bit more kind of fully next month, sellers, in terms of if the inventory is really, kind of gapping itself. And if it is, then you can almost expect a market correction, which would expect you losing some value in your house. Okay. And on top of that, more competition would just make it harder to sell your house. Well, thank you again very much, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I know this one was kind of a long one, but considering that spike, I just wanted to kind of go through and let you know. I will also be coming out with my video talking about my 2022 predictions coming up here soon, what I think is going to happen in the Treasure Valley market. So please pay attention for that. And the way to do that is to go ahead and click on that subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with the videos that I do come up with, because it's not just this. I come up with a lot of other stuff too as well. It's very, very entertaining about and keeps you in the loop about what's happening here in the Treasure Valley. And again, if you are thinking about making a move to our area, please click on the link in the description below, click into the description, download that free relocation guide, and it'll give you a heads up to everything that you're going to want to know about right here in the Treasure Valley before you decide to make the move. And of course, if you have any further questions, or you're looking to buy, sell, or even invest in real estate here in the Treasure Valley, please feel free to reach out to me. You can get me at area code 208-715-STAR. That's 208-715-7827. I look forward to speaking with you, fielding your questions, helping you out. And of course, I look forward to that day that we speak. Until that day, I look forward to calling you my neighbor. God bless you all. And until the next time we speak, and I see you on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.